I don't think we need to beat around the bush to know what the Avs' objectives were into this game, and no one got hurt. So, good job. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche postgame show, presented by Bet365. AJ and Rudo coming to you live as the Avs lose to the Vancouver Canucks 4-1. AJ, let's just be up front here. Be honest with me. Is there anything meaningful you're taking out of this hockey game for the Colorado Avalanche?
Did they stay healthy?
As far as I know.
Then yes, that.
Okay.
Yahtzee.
End of list.
Mission accomplished.
I agree. I really don't think there is a ton to look at in this game. I don't think there's really even very much to deep dive in this game. If we're being honest about it, look, even before puck drop, look, the back signal was out this morning from Morning Skate when they said, yeah, Nathan MacKinnon's not playing tonight. The Avs made their objectives very, very clear for what the rest of the season was.
Nathan MacKinnon likely shut down for the rest of this season, which is all 4 days. So his last game they played on Tuesday. They'll likely open in Dallas on the 19th, next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of rest.
5 days.
In between games for MacKinnon. And I mean, we've talked about this a little bit. It's incredibly weird that the Avs finish their season on Sunday and the NHL doesn't finish their regular season overall until Thursday.
Yep.
So, odd. But MacKinnon's going to have all kinds of rest. It made me a little bit nervous when Bednar said, we hope Lindgren is ready to go for game 1, because it's like, whatever happened?
He finished the game. I don't know.
And, as just mentioned, that's a full week and a half.
Right. Is there a 10-day thing that's really...
Yeah.
cropped up?
Yeah. So that's odd to me, but also that's part of our concern that we had with Ryan Lindgren, is that his body's just so beat up that whenever he has an injury, I'm like, is he gonna die? And then you throw in the Avs weird injury history over the last few years, and I'm like, this is the worst combination. This is I don't like this. Anyway, there was a hockey game tonight, I guess we have to talk about.
There was. We'll talk about it. We can talk about other stuff too. I don't think anyone's too particular on the details tonight. We'll get into some of them, but since we're talking about the injury conversation, the Avs only have so many bodies. Do you consider giving more guys some nights off in these final back-to-back of the season? Do you maybe let Cale rest a game? Do you find a way to give someone else a night off?
Yeah. I would, the game Sunday in Anaheim, I would bring up whatever they want, whichever guys they want. Selfishly, I'm like, please, guys that haven't played this year, so that we can get to 50.
Get to 50.
Because we need 2 more guys to play in games, and then when Landeskog plays in the postseason, it'll be 50. So that's what I want. That's my math. Give us 2 guys who haven't done it. That's all I care about. I want to get to 50, since it seems like they are completely punting on the 50-win dream at this point after tonight. I am expecting the afternoon game on Saturday to be a freebie for LA, some light cardio. And then let's get into Anaheim, and maybe we'll care a little bit, just because they're weird superhumans on the second night of back-to-backs. But yeah, I mean, I would sit Taves. I would sit Makar. I mean, just imagine, man. Like, those guys play Sunday against Anaheim, and one of them gets hurt less than a week before the postseason in a game that means
disastrous.
Nothing. Like, their seed is, as of tonight, they are done. It's locked. We're finished.
They literally cannot be anything but the third seed, and it's like 99.9% that they're going to play Dallas.
Yeah, isn't it like one more point from the Jets, and that's the end of it?
Yep. Or if Dallas loses a single point, either way.
And like, you could point to the 6-2-2 in their last 10. The Stars don't look good. They haven't looked good for a couple of weeks now. They keep finding ways to win games. But anyway, I don't care about the Stars right now. We'll talk about this a lot in the next few days. So
we sure will. Instead, let's talk about the Avs a little bit. And AJ, the one main conversation I want to have about tonight, and we talked about it on the watch along. We've talked about it over the last couple of games. As much because of the Avs' deployment of their goaltenders has been weird, but it's fair to say that you would expect better out of Mackenzie Blackwood than what you've gotten from him in the last handful of games you've seen him play. There have been some up and downs, probably dating all the way back to that Toronto game. I think some people are blowing it out of proportion. I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood has been as bad as some people think he's been, but you probably do want him to be a little better than you've seen in some of the games recently.
I would say the Sherwood goal, the second goal from Vancouver tonight, is one that you're like, what is this? The other two goals, like, what is the first goal? It
butterflies
like,
off of the way into
stick. The net. Yeah, where you're just like, what? And then the third goal, when you see the right angle of it and you see that it hits two things on its way into hitting his pad.
Yeah.
And then Devon Taves just
is asleep. Yeah, he's like, nah.
Yeah. You expect me to fight this hard in front of the net in a game I don't care a single F about? Nah, it's fine. I did learn that just from watching the Vancouver broadcast tonight, though, that Dakota Joshua is the second best player in the NHL behind Quinn Hughes. There was a very real moment on that broadcast tonight where they showed a replay of Quinn Hughes and talked about what makes him special, and it was him skating forward with the puck. And they were like, he gets the puck, and then he skates forward, and then he passes it, and that's one of the nuances that makes him so special. And I was like, is this what watching Altitude was like in 2015? Like, oh my God, this was rough, man. So I'm sorry, I don't care about tonight's game, so I'm just gonna talk about random stuff.
That's how this show's gonna go.
Yeah, the Dakota Joshua love was very funny to me. Like, I actually really like him as a player. I think he's really good. He was really good last year. Obviously, the injury issues that he's battled this season have been awful, and it's great that he got through them. So hasn't really gotten to get into the swing of things. Kind of a lost year for him. I think he's really good, but it was like every time he was on the ice, man. Well, look at him setting the tone out there. Here he goes. And I was just like, oh, dude, this is what other people feel like when they listen to the Avs broadcast these days. Where they'll message me and they'll be like, is this for real? I'm like, yeah, man. All the time. I will say, I enjoyed listening to all 7 Canadian teams' broadcasts throughout this season, and Vancouver's was by far the worst. I hate to say it. I absolutely hate to say it. Winnipeg's rocks. That's such a good broadcast.
It's all right. Would you rather have a good broadcast or a better team? Yeah, I know Vancouver's not better than Winnipeg, but
a good broadcast is nice to have. It makes even the good and the bad. It's fine. I liked the Oilers broadcast. I thought it was cool. I enjoy their broadcasts.
There aren't many broadcasts that I outwardly hate, but
by the end of this season, there were, because I listened to so many road broadcasts. Because the last couple of years, you and I have been in studio together.
Yeah.
So we've only listened to Altitude, or we've muted that nonsense for
mostly mute.
Yeah. And so, like, I've had to like live through the hell that was commentary again this year, and there were a couple of games where my girlfriend's sitting next to me, and she's like, "I thought you were watching the game tonight," and I'm like, "I am. It's just on mute. I can't do it." Like Detroit, I can't do it, dude. I can't
Yeah,
see.
I don't like
I
Detroit.
liked Columbus's too. I thought Columbus was.
I think
fine.
Columbus is great. I think Dallas's is horrible. I know a lot of people like them. I hate them.
It was like the third guy on the Columbus broadcast didn't know how to say anybody's names, didn't know anything about anything, and I was like, he's such a small part of this broadcast that every time I hear him say something kind of crazy, I'm kind of into it because I'm like, I have no idea where this guy is coming from. This is I as much as I enjoyed Ivan Ivan's run, I was very happy when he got sent down just so I didn't have to hear the same. He's the first player in NHL history with the first same and last name. Every game,
anything, yeah.
That part of it was tough, but I was like, I kind of did this to myself. What are they supposed to do? If I was on that broadcast, I would have said the same thing. Like, come on. Anyway, we're talking about broadcast, man.
To become the captain of the Colorado Eagles.
Yeah.
Not for hockey, just so I can call him aye, captain.
Exactly.
Look, the rest of this game, hey, cool goal for Devon Toews. I can't remember the last time a defenseman tipped in a puck.
I think it was Devon Toews.
It probably was
this season.
Sick.
I'm pretty sure 2 of his goals this year are like net front tip-ins.
Is he the next Dustin Byfuglien? Just park him in front of the net as a defenseman, and I guess Chara did it too.
You know who else did it? Relatively recently? Rasmus Ristolainen. He just wasn't good at it.
He did. He was not any good at it, but they did just stick his big body in front there.
They said, "Look, man, we're not trying to be rude, but you got kind of a big dumpy here. Just go sit in front of the goalie and take up some space." He was a dumpy daddy.
Nope. I'm not going to go down that path. Look, okay. Let me get your thoughts on this, because I think there's at least some of a conversation here. LOC fights Elias Pettersson, Elias, whatever, however he says his name these days. Good for him for standing up for himself, or why you do that in game where don't get hurt?
Look, I'll just say, I know he got tackled, so the inclination is that he lost that fight, but he punched that dude multiple times in the face.
He took a couple punches too. I thought he lost it. I'll put it that way.
I thought LOC had an argument for a draw. For we'll see you next year, and we can do a quick first period tilt. Yeah, because I thought, and look, I am kind of a petty monster, so pulling his hair I thought was a nice touch. Get him. If you're gonna have floppy wings hanging around like that, you should just let him fly, brother. Let him fly, and then punch him in the face a couple of times. I was into it. All
right.
I am glad that he did not get hurt, though, because had he gotten hurt in a dumb fight like that, I would have been like, so.
Yep. It would have been silly, for sure. Anyway, we'll get into some other conversations, Avs related, after we pay a few bills right here. So let's jump in and make sure we're doing that with Game Time. You know him. You love him. There are no more regular season home games left for the Avs, but maybe you want to go see them on the road in California this weekend. Maybe you want to get your playoff tickets. That's where Game Time comes into play. Go over to Game Time, download their app today, and use code DNVR to get $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms and conditions apply with that. And when you do get Game Time, use their Game Time Picks feature. You can put in what you're searching for, and Game Time will filter out all the junk. They'll only show you the best seats for the best prices when it comes to what you're looking for. Go get them, whether it's Avs games, Nuggets games. I mean, I can you even call Rockies games? It's a great bar to go to enjoy beer, and there is allegedly a baseball game going on in the background. You can get there with Game Time. Do it with them. Over 15 million people use Game Time, not just for sports either, concerts, theaters, movies, stuff like that. You can get your tickets too. So download the app today. Again, use that DNVR code to get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? It's game time. Once you've got your tickets, you move from Game Time to Timeline. If you are looking for health longevity supplements, that's where Timeline comes into play. They have MitoPure. It's a postbiotic nutrient that clears dysfunctional mitochondria. You know, we all know it's the powerhouse of the cell. When you need your powerhouse, run it. Your battery pack going when it comes to keeping your cells healthy and recharged. That's what MitoPure does. Recharges your cells and helps your body systems to work better. They've done a bunch of studies, and it's proven over long term to help your muscles grow and increase in strength better. So make sure you're getting over with Timeline. Make sure you're using your MitoPure. Double-digit increases in muscle strength and endurance without a change in exercise. So you keep doing what you're doing, and it's a win with Timeline. Right now, you can get 10% off at Timeline when you get your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/DNVR today to get started. That's timeline.com/DNVR to get 10% off with Timeline. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's be honest. The biggest storyline in Avalanche world right now is not the hockey games the Avs are playing. It's the hockey games the Colorado Eagles are about to play. And the guy who may well be playing in them, Gabriel Landeskog.
Jacob McDonald.
Yeah, Jacob McDonald, for sure. He's the reason.
Chasing down those 30 goals.
AJ, first of all, it's not even confirmed for sure that Landeskog will play. One, do you think he will play? Two, what is a realistic outcome? What is a best case outcome? What is a worst? What outcomes do you think come from Gabe Landeskog playing in the
AHL? Best case is I think he plays one game. He plays like 12 minutes. He gets involved in the physical side of things and gets a little confidence up, feels a little bit good, and that's it. That's best case, baby. I mean, if he has like a 4-goal night, that'd be fun, but
does that really matter? Yeah.
Yeah. Worst case is so many things. So many things, man. Anything involving injury. Anything involving an injury of any kind. The way that this recovery has gone, his knee will probably make it through the game just fine, but he'll get a concussion or he'll break an elbow or, some random nonsense is going to happen. And we're just going to be like, well, hindsight here, shouldn't have played him.
That was really dumb.
But I really don't. It feels like they're in a lose-lose situation here. It might even be lose-lose-lose. Because if you don't play him this weekend with the Eagles, and then you do play him in the postseason, he hasn't played an NHL game in 3 years, and Game 1 is going to be in Dallas. Like, Game 1 in Dallas, that's woof. But if you do play him and he gets hurt, then it's like, well, why did you play him? If you don't play him in either one of them because you're afraid of him getting hurt, then you have no idea how this holds up, and then you could be accidentally screwing yourself for next season. So,
if you are that afraid of him getting hurt, then you shouldn't be playing him at all, right? Like, freak things happen, and if that happens, that sucks. But if you're that scared of it, then you shouldn't even be considering playing him in the playoffs either. Like, that's where I'm at with that.
And like the only like fear of injury that you really have is somebody in the AHL trying to make a name for themselves and doing something crazy.
Right. I just don't
really that's really about it.
Look, if there is some concern about that, I think the message is very, very clear. I'm sure most people respect him. One, because Gabe Landeskog is a pretty darn well-respected hockey player just in general across the game and the league. So there is a lot of respect there. But two, the second part of this is you have an entire team of the Colorado Eagles that, frankly, will just the message in warmups is, hey, if you guys touch Gabe Landeskog, we're actually going to murder you. Like, the entire team is coming over the bench, and we are going to beat you into a pulp if you try anything with Gabe Landeskog. I don't think it's that complicated. So, I think you're muted.
It just has to be like regular hockey stuff, right? Like
Yeah. It's good. You're good.
How about now?
Yeah.
Great. Like, it just has to be like regular hockey stuff, you know? Like, he goes hard into the corner, whatever. Like a physical battle, he's working in front of the net, like that stuff. Anybody takes a run at him, anybody gives him an extra whack on that knee, it needs to a full flip out is justified.
Yep. Agreed. There's no
like those dudes are like, we know that it's gonna happen between Mason Marchment and Jamie Benn.
Right.
That knee's gonna get tested in Dallas. That's fine. That's the NHL. I don't know how many people have tweeted at me over the last 2 days who have been like, well, you know Jamie Benn's gonna do something. Correct. I am aware of this. I accept this. That is an NHL game. That is what he is coming back to play. That is a game that matters. That is a game that, hey, look, yes, I fully expect that if Miro Heiskanen plays, Miles Wood is going to try and
better bet he's getting tested
a
too.
Swing at Miro Heiskanen. Like, that's how this goes. But some random no-name Henderson Silver Knight taking a whack at it just for funsies to see if, so a GM around the league will be like, wow, love the balls that kid showed going after Landeskog like that. Like, he didn't give any F's out there. Like, we need more of that in our organization. Give him a one-way deal. You know, like, dumb stuff like that makes hockey dumb and bad and ugly. That would be my only concern. And I genuinely, I'm not that concerned about it, but there is that old school AHL stigma of like the goonery be gooning, you know? Like, it's a little scary down there sometimes.
I will say that's gotten better over the years. I'm not saying it's gone by any stretch of the imagination, but if you look at the AHL 10 years ago compared to what it is now, like,
yeah,
it was just 10 years ago. It was like, yeah, you know, once a year there's a game where the cops get called. Like,
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Like, it's the like fourth lines in the AHL nowadays are a lot of like, well, we're trying to groom these guys to be like fourth line checkers in the NHL.
Yep.
And it used to be like random enforcer that played Canadian Beauty for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's such a different environment nowadays.
For sure.
But I do I'm excited for it. If it's Friday or Saturday, I don't care.
Same.
I don't think he'll play both. I have a hard time believing that they're going to put him in a back-to-back. I don't think he'll travel on the road. I think he'll play one game and everybody will be like, he's good? He's good? Cool. And that's that.
Does a game-worn Gabe Landeskog Eagles jersey become one of the most expensive pieces of Colorado hockey memorabilia immediately?
It becomes one of the more unique ones for sure. I remember. Do you remember when Tyson Jost got sent down
he
for those?
Played his 7 games for him or whatever it was.
Yeah, he had like that really small amount of time, but the first game that he was there, they had a jersey issue. So he wore a different number. I think he was wearing like Shane Bowers' jersey or something. And it was like the Hockey Fights cancer
the purple
jersey.
Ones. Yeah.
So it was a purple one with a different number that he never wore again. And it was like, this is a cool piece of memorabilia that's getting auctioned off. Like, this, like, one very specific set of circumstances was created for this jersey to exist. A Gabe Landeskog is like that times 10,000 American dollars.
I miss me with that. I'm not paying 10 grand for it. The Jost one, I feel like, is way more. It's a like conversation piece because if someone sees that jersey, anyone would immediately be like, "Jost didn't wear that number,"
and you're like,
and then you'd be like, "Well,
actually, I asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know how I ended up with that jersey." And then
it's just in my locker."
One of the equipment guys was like, "Yeah, we had an issue with it. He's wearing Bowers' stuff." I was like, "Okay,
Cool,
cool. I love the AHL, man. Stuff like that used to just always happen like that.
just out there making it work. I mean, we can talk about it a little bit. I know we've talked about it before, but the reality is everyone wants to talk about Landeskog right now. Another topic that came up on the watch along, because God, let's talk about anything but that hockey game. Lineup. And there's two sides to this. One, does Landeskog getting an AHL game in, proving he can go, change how you look at his deployment for the Avs in the playoffs? Two, Landeskog coming in, who's catching the bench?
Are we assuming that Jared Bednar is being at least a little bit truthful and that the other guys are going to be ready to go? On the forward side.
I am assuming everyone on the forward side is going to be healthy. That is my assumption, or at least healthy enough to play.
Okay. I don't know that they'll be able to resist trying Landy on a line 2. I think we've all kind of mentally had him penciled in on a third line with Ross Colton and Charlie Coyle.
That is where I would have predicted him, yes.
I keep forgetting Ross Colton's also hurt.
Is he hurt, though? I mean, yes, I'm sure he's not 100%, but dude's playing.
Well, and seeing Kiviranta get like big time burn in some of these last couple of games where they've
top
needed
line
forward.
Kivy with Merton H as center.
Right, but how much do you think Kiviranta played tonight? We're saying this, but how much do you think he played?
Off the top of my head, 12 minutes, 13 maybe. That little, jeez.
That's what I'm saying. Which is, I kind of want to double check and see if that's correct because they said he played 18 shifts, and I don't know how you play 9:45 and 18
20-second shifts, man. Let's go.
Because in comparison, Chris Wagner played 11 shifts and played 7:55, so I'm a little curious.
Dude just steps on the ice and someone flips it out immediately every single time.
Yeah, I'm actually just gonna double check this. Yeah, his average shift is 32 seconds.
That's so low.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Wow, that is wow. He had a 5-second shift. He had a 1-second shift. He had a 1-second shift. Guy got on the ice and a penalty got called.
You sure they pulled him off. Not a KHL rookie with those type of shifts.
Yeah. Jesus, dude. That's anyway.
For lineup regulars, though, a fair point. He was the low man on time on ice tonight.
And that's I think Kiviranta would be a sneaky addition in that spot where because that Kelly, Drury, O'Connor fourth line has been so effective, so consistently effective.
Yep.
And you see, like, for the role they're being asked to play, it has gone really, really well. And it's not that I would say Kiviranta has proven himself to be a better player than Parker Kelly. I'm not gonna sit here and argue it. I just think
player,
the year that
but
he's had,
better for the role. Like if you're asking about defense, like
that's where I think there's a fair question to ask because they have been that line, that fourth line, with Kelly, Drury, LOC has been excellent as a group. You go and look at their numbers together, awesome, right? They're really, really, really good. But I mean, Kiviranta's had the year that he's had.
Yep.
I think it would be hard to be like, hey, we're going to scratch a healthy scratch a guy who has 16 goals for us. And I know that anytime you mention Kiviranta and the 16 goals, somebody's going to be like, well, shooting percentage. And you right. Like, come on. You right. But
if he's shooting it, ride it until it stops going in.
Right. You're talking about a Parker Kelly has 19 points, and he's played constantly this season.
Yeah.
Kiviranta has a 16-goal season for you. And I think that's a tough, healthy scratch. But I do think he's a sneaky candidate for that spot, just because that fourth line has worked really, really well together, that I think it would be easier to just say, look, this is working. And we know with Kivy, given his career as this kind of like lineup filler, and a guy that has been healthy scratched a lot in his career, he knows how to be ready. He knows how to jump in when called upon. That you don't have to worry about, I think, super hurt feelings there and being like, wow, I'm Yoel Kiviranta. You know, like I don't think that he would throw the weight around.
Dude was on an AHL deal with this organization 20 months ago. Like,
yeah, a PTO, man. It was he parlayed a PTO into an AHL deal into an NHL deal. So like he's trending upward here, but you do have like a realistic conversation of that line has been really good. It's been working. Kiviranta is going to play for you at some point, and that he's going to be comfortable doing that. Just let this ride for right now.
Yep.
And I think that's an easy. It might be a hard conversation at first, but I think it's easy to do with that lineup. If Ross Colton is actual injured, and again, we're talking about the 19th or 20th for game 1 here.
Yeah.
It's April 11th.
Yeah, not even yet in Colorado. Yeah.
Sorry, you're right. My bad. It's April 10th, where many of you are while I say this. God, the number of times I've done that while I've been writing this year.
Yeah, I know.
Where I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, what's the date today? Anyway. I think that there's so much time that, Ross Colton, healthy, injured, I don't really know. But I think that that's probably where I would put Landeskog right now.
Just how long does it take?
If he gets if he plays well and he stays healthy by the middle of the series, if he's not playing next to Nathan MacKinnon, I will be freaking shocked.
Just to clarify, this is under the assumption that the Avs are healthy. If the Avs are healthy, pretty safe to assume the other extras are Miles Wood and Jimmy Vesey.
Oh, I think so, but I do want to give love to Miles Wood. I know
he's trying to play himself into a spot right now. The last 3-4 games.
Yeah, and that's
actually, well, let me stop you. We'll get into it, but I do need to pay some bills first, so we'll do that first. As this podcast is, of course, brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Go get in with Bet365. Bet against the Avs this weekend. I'm just going to throw that out there. Bet against the Avs this weekend on Bet365.
At least the LA game.
Yeah, at least the LA game. Anaheim's pretty bad, maybe. Fair enough. But that LA game, bet against the Avs. Bet365, an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche. You can jump in with them. You can bet on whatever you want. They have live bets. When you put in $10 with code DNVR365 on a new account and you bet $5 on anything, win or lose that bet, you get $150 in bonus bets. So jump in with them. Make sure you're getting on it. In hockey, you even get the early payout. If a team goes up by 3 goals at any time, you get your payout if you pick them to win. They don't even have to win the game. Just ask Dallas fans the other day. All right? They hit their bets. Dallas lost the game. Go get in with Bet365 today. Whatever the sport, it doesn't have to just be the Avs. It can be the Nuggets, or you can bet on the NFL draft, because I know anything about the NFL draft for sure. Shadur Sanders to go wherever he's going in the draft. I don't know.
To one of 32 cities.
True. Facts. You can't prove that wrong. Yeah, go have fun with it with Bet365. Of course, when you do gamble with them, make sure you use the DNVR 365 code, and you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And if you want a little bit of money, you have a good time with Bet365, maybe you want to build up your foundation. Maybe you're talking about keeping the right fourth line together. It's kind of like getting the right flooring in your house with Empire Today. Head over to EmpireToday.com/DNVR and get $350 off your new floors with Empire Today. They're awesome. They only carry the best products. They have professional installers. They make sure that you're taken care of in every single way. They even offer a free in-home inspection so you can see what it looks like in your house. You can get set up. They can give you a price. I forget the word I'm looking for, but it's awesome. We did it. Highly recommend you go check out their in-home thing just to see what the floors look like in your house. Also, Team Carpet. Let's go Team Carpet. Everybody out there, go get with them. You know, if you're in the bathroom, do that, then put tile in there or something. Don't be a psychopath, but do it with Empire Today. EmpireToday.com/DNVR today to get up to $350 off. Terms and conditions apply. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. AJ, give Miles Wood some credit here.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this, he had points in 3 straight games. That obviously ended tonight, but you have to really
looked pretty good tonight too, man. Yeah,
he was their best forward and most dangerous forward through, I don't know, a period and a half. Kudos. He had been really, really bad at times. In the last handful of appearances that he had, where penalties and undisciplined and out of position, effort was bad, that blazing speed, but these last couple of games so much better. Like Agreed. That's the Miles Wood where you're like, this is why they gave him a $1 billion contract, because they were hoping they were going to get this guy 7 out of 10 nights. Yep. And, this season, it's been like 2 out of 10 nights.
Yeah.
So,
obviously,
not
there's
great.
Injury recovery and things going on there. But
yeah. But they're like, this is a guy that I am comfortable saying is going to be a lot better than a lot of teams' 13th or 14th forwards if he would, when the time comes for him to slot into a lineup. I think right now, with a healthy lineup, counting Landeskog, Miles Wood is probably the 14th guy, with Kivi Ranta or Parker Kelly being 13th.
I think that would be accurate.
That's more of a good thing. Like Jimmy Vesey is your 15th guy.
Yeah. That's a credit to the Avs' depth, not a detriment to Miles Wood, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, obviously the exact opposite is happening on defense, but that's fine.
Yep.
I just hope don't want to talk about it.
To start the playoffs.
Yeah, and if Josh Manson is healthy and Ryan Lindgren is healthy, then Keaton Middleton is your number 8, and you're kind of rotating your
much
Sam
better,
Malinsky or Eric Johnson, and you do feel pretty good about it. Honestly, oh my gosh, this wasn't just Eric Johnson tonight, but oh my God, were they all bad with the puck?
It was Grenade City tonight.
It was like, it got to the point where like I was turning to my girlfriend, who's paying absolutely no attention, of course, right? Like she's just like not interested. And I'm like, watch this. One shift. I just want one shift where they don't have a turnover. And she's like, okay, babe. I'm like, all right. It wasn't good, and it got me yelling at the TV, which this late in the season is pretty rare. I usually don't get that fired up about games. It don't matter. Yeah, and it really, like, as far as fired up goes, like, it was fine. There was no pacing of any kind.
Yeah,
it was just stop turning it over. Just, what is this? What am I watching?
If you're gonna play hockey, at least play hockey. I don't care if you're not trying.
You're in the game. You're cashing the check. Come on. Whatever.
Just to put a bow on the Avs didn't care about this one, I think Jared Bednar just turned in his shortest presser of his career in this game. So let's hear the grand total of 90 seconds from Jared Bednar tonight.
Oh, God. Go ahead.
Coach, in these kinds of games, is there anything that you kind of encourage your players to just play a little bit more cautious to avoid any kind of injuries?
No.
You guys are kind of locked into this third spot now. Like this weekend, are you considering leaving maybe some guys home that have played some heavy minutes here?
No, we'll see. We got some guys dealing with some things, so we'll decide on possibly leaving some guys if they're banged up a little bit and not feeling great.
Overall, disappointed with that effort tonight?
Yeah.
What are you seeing there that results in what happened?
It's not skating. Bad decision. Like our breakouts were terrible, so like just tough time getting in and out of the zone tonight, so kind of messes up your whole game.
Do you think a lot of that due to, mixing up those lines due to a lot of the guys?
No.
What are your thoughts of the Logan O'Connor fight there at the end?
I thought he did a good job sticking up for himself. Should have been a penalty, interference. Doesn't get the call, so he took it upon himself to settle the score.
What else?
You mentioned that Lindgren injury this morning. Is that a day-to-day thing, or is there concern?
They're all day-to-day now. We're approaching playoffs, so if he doesn't play this weekend, he's day-to-day.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks.
Tough day at the office presser when 3 of your 6 questions, your answers are no. Full stop.
I had a significantly more robust back and forth with the Connecticut DMV the other day.
Tough comparison for Betsy on that one. Yeah.
If he doesn't play this weekend, they're all day to day. All right.
Juju's in the chat. Is Bednar pissed? I don't think Bednar is pissed there. I think Bednar is saying something by not saying something. You watched the game. I watched the game. You saw it. You would understand the score. You know what the Avs are doing. I can't tell you that, but we're not dumb here.
I did like Evan asking about, are you guys going to leave some guys back? And then he's like, no. Well, we'll see. Which was like, I'm going to say no because I'm mad. But yeah, we're doing that shit. Sorry. Yeah. Kel McCarr, don't pack your bags. You're hanging out with the lady this weekend.
Go away. Get away to some nice resort. Yeah, honestly, if we didn't have sponsors, that would have been our post-game show too, Betsy. So props to you, buddy.
I don't even know how I'm going to write this post-game piece. How am I going to get this to 600 words?
I was saying, my review is going to cut the 2-minute mark, and it's going to have all the highlights in it while being less than 2 minutes.
Man, maybe I'll just post the Bednar presser and be like, see you this weekend.
Have the presser 3 different times on our channel.
Just cut the presser down to one of Jared Bednar saying no. That's it. A 1-second video where Bednar says no.
We should do one of those fun super cuts where it's like we ask silly questions and then cut to Bednar in 1-word answers.
That was forming in my brain. Like, maybe that's my review tonight. Maybe.
Did the Avs care at all about this game? No. Looks around.
All right. We do have to pay a few more bills, so let's get that in, and then we'll have some fun in the last segment, I guess. We are, of course, presented by the fantastic folks over at UC Health. If you haven't gotten with them, make sure you're taking care of your health. The Avs are clearly taking care of their health. They're making it priority number 1. So should you. You can go to uchealth.org today for more info. Learn more about living like there is a tomorrow. Obviously, health is important. Trust me from experience, it's better to be proactive about it than learn it the hard way. All right. So make sure you're getting out with UC Health. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. You can always go to uchealth.org. UC Health, live extraordinary. And once you've taken care of your health, make sure you are also taking care of your money with Monarch Money. You can jump in with Monarch Money today. Look, money is dumb and ridiculous and stupid. I think we all know that. Monarch Money just makes it easier to keep track of your money, make sure you're doing the right things with your money, and know what's going on. It's basically a financial command center for your accounts, your investments, your goals, and more. If you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, does more than just manage your money, and you can start building wealth by getting 50% off your first year of Monarch Money for our listeners. It's been rated the best budgeting app by the Wall Street Journal of 2025, and it's also the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 five-star reviews. I always use it to track all my subscriptions and stuff because I'm glad that the F1 season is back, but I ain't paying for that subscription in the off season. So, you got to take care of that stuff. What?
You don't pay for it in the off season.
Because I cancel it.
What? Just, brother, it's $85 for a calendar year. Just lock and load. What are you doing? This month by month. Just get away from me. We're fighting.
Okay, we can fight, but don't fight about your money. Get Monarch Money. Head over to monarchmoney.com and use code DNVR in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarchmoney.com for your first year with code DNVR. Final period of the DNVR Avalanche post-game show. AJ, I talked about this on the pregame solo. I'm curious about your thoughts because we've lived a number of seasons with the Avs that have been exciting down to the last day of the season, especially with this era. There is almost no interesting races in the NHL for the last week of the season this year. What's up with that?
That feels like an existential question, my man. I think this year has just been like a disaster for this, like that really highlights the problems with this particular playoff format.
Sure.
Just because we have seen, if you had, I saw people on Twitter tonight talking about if there was the play-in game, like the NBA does it, then some of these games would still be mattering. Utah, Columbus, the Rangers, even Vancouver tonight would have been playing for something. There would be some skin in the game, and Utah would have played significantly worse. Or I'm sorry, Vancouver would have played significantly worse because their season still would have meant something to them. And, like Buffalo every year, they are the post-elimination all-stars. But, like, you look at, I think the format has really been, all of the weaknesses of the format have really been illustrated with the kind of this top-heavy season. And, like, does anybody really care? Truly, does anybody really care about home ice for between LA and Edmonton?
No.
Like that's the race we're talking about. We're talking about Minnesota and St. Louis.
To swapping wild card spots. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially swapping wild card spots. Like those are the wild card teams. I know that there's still a chance, the mathematical opportunity for the Flames to get in.
Technically. Yeah, come on.
So the same way that there's still a chance that Montreal misses the postseason. Like mathematically true, but we're right at that edge where it's like
really?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close to done here. And like out east, it's not even like a serious chase for very much seeding. Like, home ice.
The Metro's done, dude. Yeah, the Metro is decided. Like,
yeah, the Metro 1, 2, 3. We're done. The same as the Central 1, 2, 3. We're finished. Easy peasy. So I'm like, it's just swapping home ice and seeding. So to those teams, yeah, those things are like important, I guess. I guess, but in terms of like an interesting race, where you have a game 82 that everybody's tuning into, Dallas in their quest to potentially catch the Jets, that game that they played tonight, and Dallas got their head kicked in. All right, that was it. That was interesting. April 10th, season ends in a week, and wasn't even competitive.
Is what we're seeing, because obviously the Avs are load managing. We've talked about it a million times, but you saw Vegas do it the other night. You've seen a number of these top teams, it rests guys or they've got injuries, right? Is this just like the next step in the we've talked about the salary cap circumvention for years of guys getting that little extra rest on LTIR, like the Mark Stones and things like that. Is this just the evolution of that, with the NHL being a copycat league and doing these types of things? I understand there's no cap relevance there, but the rest side of it.
Yeah, this year I don't think so much. I think that I think more than anything, it's just the format kind of got put on blast this year, and that's what's made a lot of these races not very interesting. Because if we were talking about the old school 1 through 8 format, not even considering like an NBA style play-in, right? But like a 1 through 8 format, we would be talking about lots of seeding still up for play.
That's a fair point.
And instead, we're not. I'm
all right. Fair enough.
It would be a more interesting conversation, because out west seeds 2 through 8 would all still be getting decided. There would be little mini races all over the place for that. And funny enough, the Avs would be competing for home ice advantage still.
Yep. Be them in LA.
It would be, they might have actually cared tonight.
This game on Saturday could have been a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Avs ended up in a situation where their final 4 games of the regular season are pretty much meaningless.
Yep. It's how it ended up. Claudia in the chat might be onto something, AJ. If the Avs need to get to 50 players, suit up Tucker Poolman for a playoff game.
Yeah.
Bring him out of retirement. It's fine.
Ended up being a sneaky good ad. Needed that money.
You did. He needed every penny. Turns out. Yeah, it's just a weird time of year right now, where usually there this, that, and the other exciting race you can get behind, but even the President's Trophy is pretty much locked up for Winnipeg. I mean, I guess in theory Washington could catch them, but it would be tough.
Yeah, Winnipeg really needs to falter at this point for it to be just three points with 4 games to go. It's not insurmountable for Washington, but it's also weird. And I know we've talked about this a couple of times when I've been on shows over the last few weeks, but it's weird that the President's Trophy race isn't involving 2 teams that people are like really afraid of come postseason.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not like looking at it like, oh my God, the President's Trophy team is a monster. Like, if Winnipeg wins the President's Trophy, like, largely they're going to be considered like one of 4 serious contenders, and not at the front of that pack out west between Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, and Winnipeg. And then if Edmonton is healthy, then you have those 5 teams. How many of those teams would you pick Winnipeg over going into the postseason?
Not many.
Like, Dallas without Miro Heiskanen, I'm taking Winnipeg.
I get that.
Dallas with Miro Heiskanen?
Does Stuart Skinner just completely collapse? Because then maybe.
Yeah. Even if the Oilers are healthy, the questions that they have in net, I think, are still too severe. But Dallas with Miro, Vegas, and Colorado are all teams that I am more comfortable with.
Yeah,
than Winnipeg.
I would agree.
And I spent a lot of my free time today. This is kind of sad. Thinking that I've been hating too much on Winnipeg, and I've not given them their due respect. And then I go and I look at a lot of their numbers. Their expected goal for percentage is really, really good. Connor Hellebuyck should win the Hart Trophy. Okay. I'm still just not buying it because I look at their roster and I go,
yep.
Vlad Nemestikov is a top 9 center for you.
I think a lot of people haven't realized the depth that they've lost on the forward side. Like,
yeah,
there are some holes in that lineup now.
Well, and I don't know what's happening with Gabe Vilardi. Like, I don't know where he's at in his recovery. If he misses the first round, if he misses the first round, I might pick St. Louis to upset them if that's the matchup that they get. Because hate Jordan Binnington all you want, but that dude
can steal a series for sure.
Yeah, well, and he's got that kind of moxie about him where when he gets good and defiant and he stands up and he's at his best, he's really, 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 really good.
It's either that or he implodes. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, Connor Hellebuyck is, that kind of guy too, where he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's arguably one of the best,
and
the top 2 goaltenders in this generation. Next to
but has had multiple playoff collapses. Like,
his last couple of playoffs are bad.
Yep.
Early in his career, much better, but his last couple showings, bad. And he needs a little bit of redemption. I think St. Louis is kind of a nightmare for the Jets because, I mean, you're going to get the hottest team in the NHL, and you're going to be on the back foot. You're going to be so tight. Like, if St. Louis steals game 1 in Winnipeg, that entire franchise is like, like suddenly they are very nervous.
I do think there might be a conversation about the league shifting its thoughts about President's Trophy winners. Because if you look at the last 10 years of President's Trophy winners, there are 2 that have lost in the first round, a bunch that have lost in the second round, 6, I guess it would be. And then twice made the conference finals, both of which happen to be the New York Rangers, by the way. So apparently they're the only good team that can, when they win the President's Trophy.
The Avs President's Trophy win kind of sucks because they lost in the second round to a team they tied for the President's Trophy with.
It's true. But still, that's the way it crumbles. When you look at that compared to the previous 10 years, you have multiple Stanley Cup winners. You have the Canucks that lost in the Stanley Cup final. So I don't know if it's something in the modern era that has just caused teams to burn out when they're the President's Trophy winner, or if it's just randomness or what it is. But maybe there's something to the conversation. I don't know. There could be. Whatever your answer is, it's going to come in overtime, though, as we are headed into that. If you are watching on television, make sure you jump over to DNVR.com where the conversation will continue. Cool.
Yeah, the President's Trophy thing, man, I know people call it like a curse or whatever, but it's like, that's one team. 16 teams make the postseason, and because this one team isn't winning it on a regular basis or even a semi-regular basis, we're calling the President's Trophy cursed.
I mean, I don't believe in curses, so all I'm saying is, since the inception of it as a trophy, the number of people to win the President's Trophy and go on to win the Stanley Cup has decreased over time. In the first 15, in the first 15 years, you had 5 teams win both, and multiple other teams lost in the Stanley Cup finals after winning the President's Trophy. In the 2000s, obviously the Avs did it, but you had multiple other teams do it too. And then in the last 10 years, you haven't even had a team make the Cup Finals and win the President's Trophy.
Well, in what happened in 2018 that might contribute to
that? What do you mean, Columbus going all in or what?
No, I mean expansion.
Okay,
and then
sure.
it happened, happened again.
Yeah, that's true. It did diffuse the talent around the league.
Yeah, and when you further dilute talent pools like that, it's harder for you to look at a truly dominant team and be like, yeah, they're going to go 4 rounds. And I think that's, they're talking about the next round of expansion in 28-29. This is going to keep happening. We're going to get to 36 teams, and it's going to be like, we're going to need the play-in.
Yeah.
Also, I know some people I see this conversation happening in chat, but Rudo and I are just not superstitious people.
No.
We're not going to believe in curses. We've just never been. This is the way in which I think both of us are the worst sports fans.
Absolutely.
Because we're like, I don't care what I wear on game day. I don't care. Like, oh no, I wore a different colored sock and I actually washed my clothes, instead of one stinky ass jersey for 6 straight weeks or whatever, one thing I will say, you and I both observe is we don't shave during the playoffs.
That's more of just a fun thing than something I really believe matters.
Yeah, agreed. It's to me, I'm like, it's just something that you do. It's not superstition.
Yeah.
For me, it's not superstition.
Look, all I'm saying.
No, not even a little stitious. Both of us are just like, this is stupid.
Who do you think is the biggest fan base in the NHL? Which team has the most fans?
Toronto.
So, if fan superstitions worked, Toronto would have a cup or two in the last 50 years.
Yeah, it's always like the arrogance to think that your socks helped determine the outcome of this hockey game. The arrogance. Get out of here with that. But also, if you find it harmless and fun, cool. Just don't beat yourself up over it.
Exactly. If you're having fun with it, I don't care what you do. Pop off. When you get mad at yourself, or worse, when you are mad at other people because you think them not following their superstition is what lost the game, stop it.
That I will say that in yet another example of why bullying works. I don't like to say shutout during shutouts anymore because people just yell at me and I get a little tired of that. That already happens enough. I don't need to go courting it. I used to just always say it just to be like, see, it didn't matter. But then
I still do it. Everyone gets mad at me. They're like, it's happened 4 times this year where I say it and Blackwood gets scored on 2 minutes later. So people are really mad at me this year about it.
I just my appetite for the anger of strangers is probably lesser than what it used to be. So I'm no longer courting the demons.
Fair enough. You gotta set up a good life for yourself. We are gonna wrap this one up though. It's 1 a.m. for you on the East Coast, AJ. So we appreciate everyone hanging out.
Did we even talk about this hockey game?
We did a little bit. We talked about the Taves goal and the Logan O'Connor fight in Blackwood. I don't know that there's anything.
Played the Bednar presser.
Kiefer Sherwood is the next great ex-Avalanche of all time, apparently. So,
dude, Kiefer Sherwood and Colton Sissons, elite Avs killers.
That's it. Those are my thoughts on this hockey game, man. That's all I got. We are wrapping this one up, though. We do appreciate y'all hanging out with us even after a dumb, silly hockey game like that one. We are off tomorrow, but then the back-to-back this weekend, and also, playoff previews coming next week. So get excited for those. I know these last 2 games might not be the most exciting, but great hockey is around the corner.
Looks like I'll be here on Saturday with Eric in St. Louis?
You'll be here on, yeah, I mean, if you want to be, yeah.
For the game,
you'll be here. It's an afternoon game. You're here. I'm not keeping you up. You're going to be here. All right.
Cool.
You heard it here. Tune in Saturday. We'll have the usual stuff for you. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche postgame show presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.